Transmission begins.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
This is The Josh Tolley Show on the GCN Radio Network.
We can get to the bottom of this. Button on that remote. Then we could get to the bottom of this. You know, just one click and boom, an explosion of truth. Wouldn't it be great if the media had to tell the truth about Ron Paul, even if it was just for 1 hour?
Yeah, I like that. And all we have to do is just click a button. That would be fascinating, actually. A glimpse like that.
Sure would. Truth button. Just imagine what they would say.
That is a clip from a film that is about to go viral. The name of it is Elektable. It should be everywhere tomorrow, so make sure you pay attention to your social outlets. I know we are going to have it on every one of our social outlets, Facebook, Google+, Twitter, Clout, whatever else we're attached to, I don't even know, but it's going to be out there. And we have the director, writer, producer with us. His name is Jeremy Richter. Jeremy, welcome to the show. How are you doing, sir?
Thanks so much, Josh. Good to be with you.
Well, it's great to have you here. You know, I have been telling people for a long time that in order to get the candidates we want, we need to influence the culture. Culture produces candidates. Candidates do not produce the culture. And in order to influence the culture, we need film, music, and other forms of media. And you are about to play a huge role in that because I know the project you're working on. Tell us a little bit about this film. What's it called? How people can find out more? And more importantly, what got you motivated to do it in the first place?
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, the film is called Elektable. And maybe to take just a few quick steps back, I'm a writer, director, filmmaker, basically out of Chicago. Been doing this for over 15 years. Have worked on close to 1,000 motion pictures for my company. And when I say motion pictures, that's everything from TV commercials, corporate videos, brand films for the web, and have traveled to 32 states, 15 countries, have had an awful lot of really neat experiences. And about 5 years ago, I started getting involved in politics and wasn't liking the option.
Did we lose you?
I was looking for...
Don, do we have a bad connection with Jeremy?
What's that?
I thought you broke up there for a second. I'm not sure if somebody was trying to call in on your line or what, but we kind of had a hit. So keep going.
Oh, sure. So I discovered Ron Paul about 5 years ago, and it took me a little while to kind of sniff it out to see if he was the real deal. But here I am 5 years later, and I haven't found a single thing that I don't like about the guy, and just very energized by the movement, and I'm sold. So I'm a big believer in liberty, and this film. The one thing I think that's missing out there is kind of I've seen it a few of them from the campaign itself, but they're very brief. 30-second commercial type things. And then I believe Revolution PAC and a few other PACs have done just a few basic things, but again, most of the stuff is pretty short in format. And as you well know, it's very hard to get all the points that Ron Paul is trying to get across in 30 seconds or less, So yeah. The objective here was to tell a fictional story using information that I have gathered from listening to Ron Paul, going to his speeches, and being a member of a lot of the different forums out there from the Daily Paul, the Freedom Broadcasting Network, and and listening to people and talking to people. And I want to incorporate those ideas of liberty into the movie in a very creative, memorable way. And I'm super confident that I pulled that off, and I'm very excited to get everybody's reaction tomorrow.
Well, and the fact that you've made a film like this kind of speaks to a larger point, and that's this growth of what is being called the liberty movement. It's not really attached to any party, thank God. It's not really backed by any official political groups or organizations. It's just this idea that people want to be free. People want to go back to the pillars which protected the people from the government. So the fact that you made this film in the first place kind of speaks to that, and it just has to be commended.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And, 4 years ago, his last campaign, that's what I was looking for. I was looking for more people, kind of the celebrity profile type people, big politicians to step up and back Ron, and he got some of that prominence, but not anywhere near what he's gotten this go around. And I don't think I could have made anywhere near the contribution I could have, now 4 years ago. But we all need others to be inspired by, and so I hope that. If this piece accomplishes nothing else other than opening the eyes of a few thousand people, who have a chance to see this, and they make up their mind that they're going to contribute in their own unique ways, mission accomplished.
Well, and I told you this when we were together in another location for an interview. I think when you produce a film, which is why I'm also working on a unrelated film, but when you produce a film stays around forever. So you're going to have somebody 5-10 years from now who might not even be old enough to vote, but they're going to watch your film, look into the Liberty Movement, read the Declaration of Independence, study up on economic truth, and they're going to decide to run for office, or they're going to decide to back a certain candidate. So what you're doing now with this film is actually going to have a ripple effect in election cycles to come.
And that's definitely my hope. And I give the disclaimer as anybody I talk to that I'm very serious about politics, but I'm a filmmaker first, and so I kind of come to this with a fresh perspective. But what we really need to make a big difference with the Liberty Movement and where America's headed is we need the activists, the people who are going to get involved at the local and state level, get involved in politics, and I'm just trying to open up the eyes of the people that are coming up in the movement, and to know that there's others out there rooting for them big time, because this is my passion. I'm a filmmaker first, and I think this is just a neat way that I could contribute. And to speak to that, just so the viewers understand what all we're getting at with this piece and why I think it's different. First, it's fictional, which there hasn't been a whole lot of fictional stuff out there. All the messaging in it is based on truth, but the treatment itself is fictional. And beyond that, though, it stars over a dozen actors. These are all local Chicago actors, people I've worked with on many projects. Great actors, got a great crew for this. But then also we filmed this with the Red One MX camera and the Epic One camera, or the Epic camera, and those are the same cameras that Peter Jackson's using for the Lord of the Ring prequels. So it's the absolute top of the food chain, and I mention this not to brag. That's not what I'm getting at. I mention it because I've seen so many times where, and I know you have too, Josh, where Ron Paul has been up on stage literally in front of thousands and thousands of people, and literally it's a room full of vultures, and sometimes the crowd doesn't understand what's going on and why he's being asked the questions he has, but sometimes he gets vilified, and I've seen him shine through so many times and won over hearts and minds who originally were against him because that was the atmosphere he was in, and he won them over. And so I looked at it and said, man, when I get my chance, I'm going to swing for the fences big time, and I'm holding back on nothing, because this guy has been a tireless hero for liberty, and a lot of times he doesn't get the pats in the back he's deserved. That's part of why this go around it's been amazing, because when you see these crowds of 7, 8, 10,000 people showing up for him, it's obvious he's won out. He's won a lot of hearts and minds.
Well, I think what he's done has gone beyond a politician, and I love the fact that you're adding quality to this film, because I think it kind of reflects the quality that he's brought back to the conversation. For too long, people have gotten behind an individual political candidate, and I think what's really unique about the movement that Ron Paul is part of is he even admits it's bigger than him. So this is something that's going to continue to grow, and that's what really encouraged me. I attended his Madison, Wisconsin event, and it was amazing to see the diversity of people, and the people who normally wouldn't even be a Republican or wouldn't even be politically active. But that message of freedom and liberty has such a resounding effect in the hearts of people that it's almost like a calling. We're gonna continue this conversation because I want to get into more about the film itself, since I'm kind of a film junkie. We're talking to Jeremy Richter. We'll be back right after this. I think one of the things I love about the Ron Paul campaign is the fact that he's your candidate, whatever you're for. He's really, truly the people's candidate. If you're a friend of Israel, he's your guy. If you think Israel needs to be left on their own, well, he's your guy too. If you're a senior citizen worried about your financial future, well, then he's definitely your guy over the other two. If you're somebody who's in agriculture, he's your guy. If you need jobs, he's your guy. I mean, he's the guy who represents really us. And I think it's evident when even the other people who he's running against kind of defer to him when it comes to a constitutional question. So the appeal is there, and the appeal has affected the hearts and minds of many others, including Jeremy Richter, who is a filmmaker, and he has made a film called Elektable, Elektable with the K, and for all of you Empire Records fans out there, that's how you mess with their minds. Anyway, Jeremy... let's get back to the film, because I really found it fascinating. The cameras that you're using, I price cameras myself, and oof, the Leva. We're not talking about shooting it with an iPad. I mean, you're shooting this with some high quality stuff, and you're using professional actors. You're using professional sound, which is vital. Why was that so important in this? Because you made a great point when we spoke before on why quality was important, not just the script itself.
Absolutely, and I think it all comes down to the perception, and I think the biggest thing that I wanted to speak to in putting this together was what I have seen, as an ardent supporter of all the activists and people out there voting for Ron Paul, is the professionalism of the movement, and how everybody's been talking about, if we're going to go out there and we're going to go to these state and local conventions, if we're going to stand up for Dr. Paul, we're going to do this the right way. We're going to dress up. We're going to be professionals. We're going to be cordial, have manners, follow the rules. And so when I look at all those types of things, first off, that's the kind of group of people I want to be around. And number two, anybody else who I think a lot of the times in the mainstream media, which is really the crux of the whole story of Elektable, they're not giving Ron Paul a fair shake, and they're not talking to all those attributes that I've seen in the literally hundreds and hundreds of YouTube videos of how people in the Ron Paul movement have been conducting themselves. So I think having a higher quality piece that's going to be undeniable. Everybody sees it. They're going to know clearly that this thing had serious Super Bowl-worthy production values. I just want that to open minds to listen to the Ron Paul people, because there's nothing crazy what they're talking about. The only thing crazy about Ron Paul people is they're crazy for liberty, and that's something that I will go to my deathbed on, because I think it's a wonderful notion. It's a beautiful thing, and you just got to, talk to a few people and understand what they're talking, why they're so passionate about it. And the people that I've convinced, which are in the dozens and dozens of people, once they get it, I don't even have to convince them anymore. They're off their merry way. So it was the least I could do was create a piece of a very high, production quality value, so that when they want to share it with others, it speaks to what this movement is capable of, and more important than all that is the messaging in the piece, and that is most certainly, all Dr. Paul talking points.
Well, how long did this take to film? I mean, it's going to be about 15 minutes when it's all cut up and ready to rock. How long did it take?
Yeah, the finished piece is about 15 minutes long, give or take a few seconds, and we filmed it over 5 days. Originally, it was supposed to be 4, but then when this thing kind of started to evolve a little bit, we were getting so much great stuff. The story kind of grew just a little bit, and then we had to do a 5th day to get some pickup stuff. But I would say it was probably about 2.5 months ago I put the original idea out on YouTube, and quite honestly, I'm not a big YouTube blogger, wasn't super familiar what kind of success I would have, but I made my case to some of the viewers or people in the forums at the Daily Paul and said, listen, I'm a filmmaker from Chicago. This is what I think I can bring to the equation. Check out some of my work at Richter Studios, and I'd love to be able to create a piece, a really unique piece for Ron Paul that's never been done before, high production values, all that kind of jazz. But to do that, I need to know that you guys are interested in something like this. And I put up the arbitrary, idea of, okay, if I could get 2,000 likes on this YouTube video in a week or 10 days, then I will, I'll start looking into it and seeing if I can pull this off. Because obviously I have a day-to-day job with my business and all that kind of jazz. But ultimately, I just want to see if there was interest out there. Well, literally in less than 24 hours, I got 3,000 likes on the video, and that's when I realized, oh my goodness, there's an awful lot of people out there who would be willing and wanting to see this happen. So I was off to the races, and then it became okay. I have to write a script for this, and that didn't take too long, because it all came from the heart, and then started casting actors and went after it. So 8 weeks, which is fairly typical. I won't kid you, there's a lot of people working on this, but I'm loving what I'm seeing, and I can't wait to share it with everybody tomorrow.
And how are people going to be able to find it? Tell people how they can find this thing. Obviously, if they wait about 7 hours, it's going to pop up in their friends' feed somewhere. But if they wanted to search this out tomorrow, how are they going to be able to find it?
Yeah, tomorrow, there's going to be a couple different ways we're going to do this. I want to obviously make it as viral as I can. The simplest way is if there's Facebook fans out there, facebook.com/Elektable, and that's Elektable with a K. That's one way. Tomorrow we'll also be launching the Elektable website, which is going to have a lot of stuff that people can download from it. So everything from there's some branding in this movie that I think that'll help the movement. So everything from obviously the logo that's going to be revealed in the movie to a lot of high-res pictures of Lady Liberty, we're calling her, who appears in the movie, and then there's going to be this iPad app, and there's also going to be some really neat things that I think people will want to, how would you say, I hate to say merchandising, but some ideas we're pursuing that represent some themes that are in the movie. T-shirts, hats, that kind of stuff. That if people like the movie, they could follow it up, and I think it'd make a real. I don't want to give too much up right now of what we're going to be after, but over the next, 3 to 5 days after the movie gets out there and we see the initial reaction, we've got a bunch of things planned that we're going to put out there that people can buy. These things do not cost much, and the whole intent is not so much a profit motive as it is an opportunity to provide the movement with just gear that conveys the theme of the movie, and it's going to directly relate to the convention in Tampa. So just trying to think all this through and find all kinds of ways to help out.
And for those who aren't too socially media aware, because we have a wide swath in our audience, if you are able to email us at The Josh Tolley Show, and I will forward you a link to be able to watch this film. And just for clarification, Jeremy, people are going to be able to watch this for free, right?
Absolutely. You can be able to watch it for free via YouTube. And, there'll be other ways. I'm sure we'll upload it maybe in the Facebook. And I know I'm definitely getting requests for DVDs, and this iPad app is going to come up. People can download it that way. They can watch it on their iPhone. But it's free. You're not going to charge for any of that. I only mentioned the follow-up merchandising stuff because, there's a cost on my end to make that stuff.
Sure.
But I just think it'd be really neat to get some thematic things out there that I think will contribute to the energy that's going to kind of swarm around Tampa, and when people see it, I think the reaction is going to be pretty great.
And I don't know what those merchandising things are either. So once we know, maybe we'll pick up some and we'll give something away to the listeners. So we'll look into that as well. So now that you've had your first, go ahead.
And I'm being intentionally vague because I don't want to give up anything until the movie comes out, because there's some neat stuff in there.
But now that you've had your first foray into this sort of political-themed media production, are there any plans to make more in the future?
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely open to talking about where it goes from here. First things first, we got to gauge the reaction to this, but I think it's going to be off the charts.
Well, thank you, Jeremy Richter. The movie Elektable. Folks, we'll be back right after this. Want to be the smartest person you know? Then keep listening. This is The Josh Tolley Show on GCN Radio Network.